Hello everyone, back again with the best of 21 series between Chris and DauT, and hopefully we can add a bit more pizzazz to this game because I finally worked out why my microphone was so quiet on some of these videos, and the issue should be fixed right now, so it's all good stuff, and hopefully it should, I say should, improve the quality of the videos and hopefully make it a little bit better for you to watch, especially if you can actually hear me. That's great stuff. Anyway, up to the north of the map in red, we have the famous DauT. He's playing as Vikings, and down to the south of the map in green, as usual, we have Chris. He's also playing as Vikings, so this is a Viking Civ War on the Ghost Lake map. I like this map a lot because, in fact, let me just double check it is Ghost Lake. Yeah, it is Ghost Lake. I do like this map because there's a lot of ice in the center of the map, and this is really cool because you can't build on ice. You probably can imagine, unless you're an Eskimo or an Inuit or whatever they're called, you can't build on ice. So it makes it hard to wall off, and it's always interesting to see how the players wall off in this situation, because of course you could try and make a wall off, but ice is passable by units. It's just not buildable on by buildings. So it's hard to wall off, and oh, very, very early loss of Chris's scout there. Just saw that. That is not pretty. You don't want to lose your scout early on. Really important that you keep your scout, because obviously now Chris is going to lose out on so much scouting information. DauT, on the other hand, is going to be able to keep scouting. As you can see, his score's going to get quite far ahead now, as he's able to scout with his scout cavalry, and of course his sheep as well. So Chris losing his scout early then, not good for him at all. However, he does know where DauT is, so he knows the general direction in which he needs to attack, but really still, that's not good, and he's probably going to end up playing a little bit more defensively now because of that early loss. So anyway, the current scores stand at 4-3 to DauT, and this is the 8th game in the best of 21. And wow, okay, look like DauT is going to lose his scout here. Oh, so close, and would have been an eye for an eye if Chris managed to take DauT's scout out there. But anyway, it is 4-3, and if Chris wins this, he'll bring it up neck and neck to 4-4 again. So it's pretty close. Neither player is getting a massive, distinct advantage. And it should be interesting to see exactly who takes this, because at the moment, it's pretty neck and neck, although it does look to me like DauT is the stronger player at the moment. Chris trying to do a bit of a wall off here then. Wants to secure this gold within the confines of his wall, so he's got to wall off quite far out. And as I said, he's obviously going to be playing a bit more defensively now because he doesn't really know the map around DauT. DauT is obviously getting all this lovely scouting information on Chris, and Chris is unable to get any scouting information on DauT at all, and you can probably see that due to the massive score difference there. As you can see, DauT are now advancing to the Feudal Age, and the reason I knew that before I looked over is because his score dropped a little bit. And if you see your opponent's score dip, it usually means they're advancing up. And DauT advancing up to the Feudal Age without any militia, or in fact he doesn't even have a barracks at this stage, whereas Chris is pumping out a couple of militia right now. And I really don't know why Chris is going for militia, or going for a Drush, because although he knows where DauT is, he hasn't got any scouting information on DauT whatsoever. So really, a Drush isn't the best to do in this situation. Although if he does manage to do some economic damage, it could make up for the fact that he's going to be delayed getting into the Feudal Age. But DauT is going to get into the Feudal Age earlier, and he's going to be able to get out some units. So if he can defend against this Drush, then DauT is going to be in a great situation from the word go, pretty much. DauT is looking to advance now. There we go. He's just advanced up. And Chris gaining scouting information with his militia as he goes. And he's going to have a real trouble now actually doing any harassment, because these militia have got to get so close to this town centre in order to do any damage. And there we go. Chris is effectively walled out right now. Those militia pretty much useless. And ultimately, DauT is gaining the upper hand purely because Chris is now delayed into the Feudal Age, and DauT is getting out some archers already, and probably some skirmishers as well. Although, look how many he's got on gold. Plenty of villagers collecting gold right there. So he's going to be looking to get quite a lot of archers out, and Chris is now falling behind already. And as you can see, finally going up to the Feudal Age. Looks like that archer could get caught out of position if Chris carries on with the attack, but there we go. There's militia pretty much ineffective, doing no damage whatsoever, and just slowing Chris down. And as I say, I mean, Chris probably should have not done the Drush because he didn't have any scouting information at the time when he built his barracks. So, I mean, I don't think that was a very good move on his behalf at all. However, he's up to the feudal age now anyway, and he will be looking to combat the archers. 2 archery range coming up here, and a blacksmith, there we go, for Chris. So he's going to be getting fletching, and my guess is he's going to go for skirmishes. He's got quite a lot of food and quite a lot of gold, wood, and he's not really got any villagers collecting gold at the moment. Contrasting that to DauT, though, DauT has got quite a lot of gold, so it looks like he's going to combat this with skirmishes. So if Chris can get out enough skirmishes to combat the archers, then Chris could catch up here. Although he has been delayed so far into the feudal age. And there we go, skirmishers coming out. Makes sense to do that. And he could even go for some scouts as well, as scouts are going to be good against those archers as well. But it looks like he's going skirmishers to me, and good choice to make, I would say. Chris, though, has completed his wall off. Looks like his villagers might just about be safe if the harassment comes in here. So there we go. They're underway now, and it looks like Chris is going to have to play this very defensively, and that's mainly due to the fact that he lost his scout. Those militia just being picked off there, and they are just useless, absolutely useless. DauT a little bit delayed with the blacksmith. Chris has already got his blacksmith up, and it looks to me like, let's have a look. Has he already got fletching or not? Where's his skirmishers gone? There we go. No fletching yet for Chris, but my guess is going to be getting fletching pretty soon so that he can combat the archers. In fact, I'm surprised he's not got fletching just yet. And there we go. I think fletching was on the way just now. Yeah, there we go. Fletching. So there we go. DauT versus Chris on the map right now, and skirmishers forcing DauT away, picking off a few, well, a couple of archers there actually. So Chris could actually come back from this, even though he had a pretty poor start. But DauT coming in again with some more archers from another angle, see if we can get a better angle on this. Chris is fully walled in though, so DauT is going to have a bit of trouble getting into Chris's base. That's what I was supposed to say. Getting into Chris's base. Now, it's important to remember, on a 1v1, you want to gain map control, even if you're losing a few units, but you're keeping your opponent penned into their base, you are going to gain the upper hand. Map control is so important in a 1v1. It's less important in a team game, because obviously you've not got to just rely on yourself. In a 1v1, map control is very, very important. And as you can see, Chris is having to play very defensively here, and that's obviously going to put DauT at an advantage. And DauT is looking to me like he's, yeah, getting out quite a few more units as his score lead is fairly high. However, looking at Chris's economy, looks to me like he's going to be advancing to the castle age. Going to get there faster than DauT because he's going to be ready to advance in just a few seconds. Chris making a kind of sensible decision. Once he gets up to the castle age, gets some knights out, he's going to hopefully be able to regain that map control we were just talking about. And if he can do that, then that is going to help him out, and it could make gain him the advantage. As you can see, his score is still lagging behind, but I think that's mainly due to the fact he has quite a few less military units. And there we go, up to the castle age right now. And DauT is a little way off, but I think he knows that Chris is going to do that. So he's going to look to go to the Castle Age pretty soon as well. Now, Vikings are quite good for economy because the Vikings actually get free wheelbarrow and free hand cart. So once you get into the feudal age, you'll get wheelbarrow for free, and once you get up to the castle age, you'll get hand cart for free. So getting up to the castle age is not just going to serve Chris technologically, but if you can get there before DauT, he's hopefully going to be able to make up for some of that lost economy from the harassment that DauT has been doing. And there we go, a little bit of a scuffle on the middle, and even Chris is actually looks to be outnumbering DauT actually on the unit count right now. DauT has lost quite a few units there, and although he's got a lot of archers sticking around his base, they're not really being put to much use, and Chris has managed to take out quite a lot of DauT's men. As you can see, DauT anticipating what Chris is doing, advancing up to the castle age. Now it looks to me like DauT is going to keep these archers safe and away from harm, so that once he gets up to the castle age, he's going to be able to upgrade them to crossbowmen really quickly. And crossbowmen are pretty useful, as even a massed amount of crossbowmen can take out knights pretty easily. So if you've got quite a lot of crossbowmen, they're going to be able to defend against knights, and if you've gone archers early on, it's a good upgrade to get, especially due to the fact that they're good for harassing economy, as they are a ranged unit, so they can always get behind the wood here and snipe the wood, or wherever they are deciding to harass. Although Chris has actually quite cleverly moved his lumber camps back here to the wood at the back of his base so that they can't be harassed from this location. So that was a really good anticipation of what DauT is going to do here. And there we go, as you can see, DauT doing a bit more of a wall off, just to keep his archers safe until he can upgrade them to crossbowmen. Chris coming in with the archers now then, and he's already into the castle age, so is he going to upgrade to, yeah, there we go, he's upgrading to crossbowman, and I don't know if it's such a good idea, because Chris doesn't actually have that many archers, and now DauT has just gone and taken out most of his archers, and so Chris has just spent the crossbowman upgrade, and upgraded 3 crossbowmen, and at the moment that technology has just been wasted. Chris doesn't have any crossbowmen, really. He's got 2 or 3, and that's not much use to him. If I was Chris, I probably would have gone for the elite skirmisher upgrade first, because as you can see, DauT has already got a hell of a lot of archers out, and they're going to be upgraded to crossbowmen as soon as he upgrades. So those archers upgraded to crossbowmen were pretty much wasted. I'm not sure if that was the best move to make or not in hindsight, but Chris has got the score lead. He's into the Castle Age first, and DauT has been forced to kind of just stay back until he can upgrade to crossbowman. He is still creating archers though, and he's got a hell of a lot of food and wood. So, I mean, DauT can afford to get out a few more archery ranges pretty quickly. He could afford to get a siege workshop and some mangonels to deal with this, and of course mangonels are one of the best options when it comes to fighting a purely archer based army. And Chris even going up with a siege workshop just outside of DauT's base. So if he gets a couple of mangonels out, or even a couple of rams, just to tank the arrow fire from his opponent, then Chris could be in a nice position. He's kind of regained map control, and DauT is now the one kind of stuck in his base. Although DauT is going to be getting the crossbowman upgrade, there we go, 84% on that. And it looks to me like DauT has got a hell of a lot of archer units now. He's got 19 ranged units there, 19 crossbowmen, and that's up against 14 crossbowmen and skirmishers for Chris. So DauT has got the numbers advantage here, and he is pushing out at the right time. Those crossbowmen coming out across the map, and this conflict here is really going to be in favour of DauT now. Although, saying that, that mangonel could have just changed things totally. DauT doing the best thing he can and chasing after it. Mangonels do have a minimum range, so they can't fire, like, if they have to be a certain range away from their target in order to actually fire. So DauT did a great job there of managing his crossbowmen, taking them right up to the mangonel so it couldn't attack. And really, that was just bad timing. As I said, there we go. Those crossbowmen taking out the main force of Chris, and DauT really gaining the upper hand here. Going straight on the counter attack and going straight over to DauT's base. Probably going to head over to this location here to try and harass the wood of Chris. Chris anticipating that already and moving back. So there we go. Just demonstrating extremely good game knowledge there. And Chris moving away from this wood camp to protect his villagers because he knows DauT is heading in that direction. So looking at the army count again now, DauT really did win that battle. 12 archers now to 7. So DauT is still in the lead army-wise. Pushing out across the map with these crossbowmen, seeing if he can actually do any economic damage at all. Looks to me like Chris is actually saying that. DauT could take out this palisade and get in here. Chris hasn't actually fully walled this off. The palisade is going to be easy to take out, especially if DauT manages to stay on this high ground. Take out that palisade, and this stump here is not going to prevent DauT from actually getting through. So DauT, again, here we go, attacking this palisade, and it looks like DauT could actually get through here. If Chris doesn't react quick enough, DauT could get through, gonna take out this villager, and DauT can obviously see that Chris has moved most of his villagers away, and wow, that was funny. Without ballistics, these guys are absolutely useless against moving targets. So here we go, Chris gonna try and wall this off. He's just realised that this isn't walled off properly, and there we go with the house now going in, and looks to me like DauT is going to be able to get through here, actually. This house has only got 13 HP on it, and this palisade is going to go down. So DauT really in a nice position here. Going to take out this palisade. This house is going to take a few hits, and DauT is in. DauT is in. And that was a great move there. And although Chris is right outside of his base, he's not doing any damage or harassment whatsoever. Chris has got a few units to protect his base, but here we go now. So Chris is on the back foot, and let's see what DauT can actually see. DauT doesn't know that his lumber camp is down here, but if DauT heads down into this direction, it looks like he is going to do that. Then DauT could take out loads and loads of woodcutters here. Chris quick to react, and he's going to try and get those villagers away. But here we go. This could be really big for DauT right now. He's going to be able to get 6 or 7 villagers if he comes down into this area. Chris forced to run, and here we go. So DauT coming in with these crossbowmen being chased up from behind by Chris. See how many archers you can see how many villagers you can take out. 1, 2, if you can take out more, these villagers are going to get trapped. And it looks like DauT's going to get all of these villagers. That is a massive loss for Chris right now. Chris losing all of these villagers. Unfortunately, DauT is going to be trapped in this corner, but he's going to be able to do really big damage as well. He's going to focus down those crossbowmen as fast as he can, dealing with the crossbowmen because they are more expensive than the skirmishers. If you are in a battle, in a 1v1 battle like this, you want to take out the units that cost gold, and that was really, really great by DauT there. He focused down those crossbowmen because they were the ones that cost the gold. The skirmishers, although they're more powerful against the crossbowmen, you didn't want to take them out first because they're cheap to build. And there we go, DauT with a huge move there, and that really, really did a lot of economic damage to Chris. Coming out as well with a mangonel at the back at DauT's base, and Chris is, although he's got the score lead right now, Chris is kind of on the back foot because he's just lost a load of villagers and he's not really got much of a military right now. He's just lost a lot of units and he has been forced back to his base in order to defend. And DauT is still pumping out those military units as we speak. So there we go, DauT doing an extremely good job there. Now, Chris has decided to go for more of a boom. He reached the castle age first, which means that he got the town centres out first. And Chris is currently on 3 town centres. DauT 1, 2, and 3 town centres as well. So really, DauT is not far behind right now. And bear in mind, DauT hasn't lost a large amount of villagers already. So DauT looking pretty strong right here. His score is slowly creeping ahead, and he's not really being cooped into his base at all. This siege workshop from Chris not really doing much here at all as well, not really producing anything. And Chris is just going to try and boom this out. But I don't know, Chris needs to put the pressure on. He's advancing up to the Imperial Age, and that's a really good move to make. DauT anticipating that, also advancing up to the Imperial Age, 30 minutes in. And again, Chris is going to reach the Imperial Age first, but Chris is losing the economic advantage here. Chris hasn't been booming it as well, and DauT is obviously taking out those villagers. So DauT's economy is looking a lot stronger right now. Let's actually have a look at his economy, see what he's got. And I wish it did have a total number of villagers. That would be nice. Let's just see. He's got 12 military and 90 population, and Chris has got 84 with 17 military. So obviously DauT has got the upper hand with the economy. He's got a lot more villagers, and that means that he's going to be able to produce a lot more military units when he gets up to the Imperial Age. Chris is going to beat him to it though. And Vikings are able to go for the arbalests, so we could be seeing that, as we have got quite a few crossbowmen on the map already. And there's no sign of knights either at the moment. More archery ranges coming out from Chris, and whilst Chris has been upgrading to the Imperial Age, he's been massing his army right here, so he's got a lot of crossbowmen already, and he's got the upgrades on them. He's got the archer armor upgrades, and he's got the bodkin arrow and the fletching upgrade. So he's got +2 attack, +2 armor, and if he goes for arbalest, then Chris is going to be in a nice situation, but he needs to use the time window before DauT advances up to the Imperial Age. He's going to have, I don't know, about 20 seconds to start attacking in that time. But DauT coming in now with 2 mangonels to the right of Chris's base. He knows his weak point. He knows that he's not going to be too strong over this side. And DauT moving in with the mangonels, probably looking to take out the buildings over here. And this could be nice. Chris is all the way over here into the Imperial Age though, and there we go, Arbalest being researched right now, more crossbowmen on the way, and Chris has gained the score lead, I think purely out of the fact that he's got so many military units right now. Although DauT does have a better economy, let's see what DauT can do. I think DauT is going to go for arbalest as well. He's massing up those crossbowmen as we speak, so it could be fairly even actually. These guys are still pretty close in score, and I know I go on about the score so much, but it does say a little bit about what's happening, especially because it indicates, if you know how strong each of their economies are, then the score does say quite a lot about their military power. So Chris moving across the map, Arbalests already researched, and there we go, +3 attack on them, and +2 to the archer armor. I don't know, can't remember off the top of my head if Vikings do get the last archer armor upgrade, but yeah, they've got pretty powerful archers, and Chris just looking to go straight over to DauT's base now. He's already got this siege workshop here. I don't know if he's got a couple of mangonels or rams in there. Yeah, a couple of rams going up, and another siege workshop next to it. DauT just reached the Imperial age, and he too is probably looking to go for arbalest. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Arbalest being researched right now, and quite a few, quite a few crossbowmen. There, that's the word I was looking for. Crossbowmen. Now, arbalests are actually just crossbowmen. They're just upgraded crossbowmen. As you can see, they're holding the crossbowman there. The crossbow, even. But if we look, 40 HP for the arbalest and 35 for the crossbowman. And at the moment, Chris has got the advantage with the art tech advantage, I should probably say. Here we go, releasing the rams now, and he's going to try and finish DauT off right here. He's going to see what he can do. Doesn't realise that DauT has so many crossbowmen right here. But Arbalest is just about to complete for DauT. There we go, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100%. And DauT is ready to attack. And he has got the 2 mangonels in here as well. So those mangonels could take out the arbalests if they get in range. 5+3 range for them and 7 range for the mangonel. So the mangonels are going to have to be microed quite well for DauT here. And here we go. So Chris going to focus fire down the mangonels. Mangonels being fired, and there we go. Try to take out the rams, I think, as fast as you can. See if you can take out this mangonel. Yes, he has, but the mangonel got a fire off there. And Chris really actually doing quite well here. These rams are going to try and take out this town centre, but look how many units are garrisoned inside this town centre right here. DauT has just garrisoned everything inside, and there we go, massive attack for this town centre, releasing out of there, and it looks like DauT is going to be able to repel this. And as he is doing so, DauT is coming in with his own attack right into Chris's base. And if you can take out this house, Chris is going to get trampled by these mangonels. Looks to me like Chris has failed in this attack, and DauT is going to be able to hold this off, although he very nearly lost this town centre. Just in time with the arbalests, really read the game quite well and advanced when he did, so he didn't lose that technological advantage. So here we go, DauT could do with getting down these palisades and starting to get into Chris's base right now. Score is saying a lot here because DauT's score is just rocketed ahead. His economy is really doing well right now. DauT's economy is great. He's got a market up there as well. He's going to be selling off some of his excess resource for gold. And DauT keeping the pressure on at Chris's base. And Chris isn't looking to me to have any army whatsoever. Having to bring his army back from the front line to defend his base, and there we go, DauT getting right in there, and Chris in panic mode now, throwing down an extra archery range, but these arbalests are sniping off everything in their range, and there we go, that's quite a big range for them actually. 5, 6, 7, 8 range for the arbalest, and that's even larger than the town centre. So also Onager upgrades coming in for DauT, and if they get a shot on the arbalests, these arbalests are going to go down, and it could be good GG for DauT right here. Those arbalests garrisoning inside of the town centre. Good move to make, and it looks like Chris is going to take out those Onagers. Those Onagers are going to get taken out, and Chris just about managing to defend his base. However, DauT has got a large army right here, and they are moving across the base, across the map. They are being patrolled, and Chris is going to lose whatever remnants of his army he does have left. Let's have a look at the army count right now. There we go, 18 ranged units for DauT, so that means 18 arbalests. Chris, 29. 30 ranged units. So Chris has actually got a massive force right here, and I didn't realize how many he had because he's keeping them locked away in his base. However, DauT is doing a great job, and he is really actually booming his economy and going to be able to, I don't know, he's going to be able to probably castle right outside of Chris's base. He's gained the map control again, And although he doesn't have an army count advantage, Chris is under the illusion that DauT has got a massive army, purely because he's been pushed back against the map again. And there we go, DauT with chemistry there. Chemistry is an important research to get because it does add an extra attack to your arbalest. And of course, every upgrade is important, as you can see. Chris with the arbalest chemistry upgrade, or chemistry upgrade even, and also extra armor, so archer armor. So Chris has actually got a massive advantage in this attack right here. Chris could push DauT back again, and DauT knows to retreat because he knows he's outnumbered. But as you can see, Chris has got all the upgrades to his archers, and DauT has not yet. He's missing the final archer armor upgrade. So this is the perfect opportunity for Chris to push back across the map, and it really has been kind of back and forth between these two players. Although, as I've said in previous games, Chris's economy isn't so great. He's just run out of gold here, actually, and he's going to have to find another gold source on the map. There's a couple of golds up here. I don't know if he knows they're here, actually. No, he doesn't, and that's quite a big mistake, actually, for Chris. He's not got the scouting information. Always important to scout the corners of your map, because you never know where the gold might be. And there's actually a couple of gold piles hiding right here. 2 gold, and if Chris was to go over there and get them, he could really, really swing this game. DauT, again, doesn't know that these gold exist, so these gold piles are not being used, and Chris could be using them. However, Chris is pushing across the map, and DauT is forced to retreat because it looks to me... Wow, actually, saying that, I was going to say, it looks to me like DauT is going to be struggling here, but DauT has massed a huge army up, and there's 3 Onagers right there, and they could be so bad for Chris right now. There we go, Onager Fly coming in, and not doing that much, actually. I thought they'd do better than that, but Onager's coming around the side, and wow, they are going to do so much damage if they keep firing upon those arbalests right there. DauT with 22 arranged units, and Chris with 23, oh, 53, wow, okay. Chris has got a big advantage by the looks of it, and DauT is only just about holding this off. He's getting up a siege workshop of his own here, archery range as well, and Chris has got so much army right now. Look at this. He's got a massive force of arbalest, and he's split them off into 2. Looks like he could take out all of DauT's units, all of DauT's villagers right here. Gonna get in behind them so they can't escape. And in fact, I don't even know if he's realised they're there. What is he doing? There we go. Going to try and take out those villagers, and so that they can't build any more buildings outside of his base. And wow, I'm actually surprised at Chris's military right here. He's got a hell of a lot of military, and DauT is lacking. Although DauT does have the bigger economy, and he is still looking pretty strong. So at the moment, it could go either way. Chris doesn't have any siege though, and these onagers are going to prove really vital for DauT, I think. Onager's really good against ranged units, although Chris does have all the upgrades, and I think, yeah, there we go, DauT has all the upgrades as well, so these guys are now even, and Chris kind of in a bad situation here. His army's split up, so these guys are going to take big losses, and this could be it. Chris gaining the high ground, doesn't want to leave his hill. He's obviously going to want DauT to be sucked into this little area here, and if Chris can keep the high ground, then he could have a good chance of winning this battle. And as you can see, firing down, and DauT forced to retreat. But here we go, 4 onagers coming in. 4 onagers, and no way Chris is going to be able to micro against this. Wow, those onagers just absolutely devastating Chris's army. And oh my, wow, Chris really, really in a bad situation right there. Losing so many men to those onagers, and those onagers just really, really devastating his units. And it looks to me like Chris could lose this because he's not taking out the onagers. Those onagers have just... Oh, I wish that they had a kill counter on them. These onagers had a kill counter. They'd be reading like 6 or 7 each. And DauT really, really winning this battle purely because of those onagers. Chris had a massive army advantage right there. And DauT just taking it purely because those onagers just absolutely kicked ass. DauT, though, is being harassed up here by Chris. Chris has got a few arbalests trying to take out these palisades and break into DauT's base. In fact, it looks like he's already managed to do quite a bit of damage to this gold pile, and DauT is being harassed quite badly. These arbalests getting right into DauT's base, but the main action down here at the south of the map is where DauT is forcing Chris right back into his base. These onagers still standing, and they do so much damage to these skirmishers and arbalests right here. And I'm surprised really that we've not seen a castle. Ah, there we go. We have seen a castle. There we go. There's a castle there from DauT. And unfortunately, berserks aren't really that useful. You're much better off going for arbalests. And there we go. So Chris doing quite a bit of harassment to DauT's base, stopping DauT from collecting this gold over here. And still, neither of the players realise that these golds are available over this section of the map. Unfortunately, they don't realise that they're there, and Chris actually getting kicked in the butt over here, losing so many units. And let's have a look again. Military count, always important. 28 ranged units for DauT and 24 for Chris. So it looks like Chris has lost his army advantage, and although he's got some arbalests at the back of DauT's base, he's preventing DauT from collecting any gold. Let's remember that DauT is pushing forwards into Chris's base right here, and we might even see a couple of trebuchets coming out just to deal with the buildings, or even some rams or whatever. And as you can see, Chris going up with a stone mine over here, and Chris doesn't actually have a castle yet. I'm surprised he's not built a castle. I'm not quite sure why he's not built a castle, because a castle would help out a lot against the onagers, and yeah, that's a bit interesting why he hasn't built a castle. But as you can see, DauT is really doing a lot of damage, and Chris hasn't been able to do any damage whatsoever. Here we go, onager fire coming in. Wow. Okay, so DauT is just, yeah. Sorry, Chris, but that was really unfortunate. You just lost your whole army with one shot from an onager. What a shame. What a shame. That was a direct hit. And now DauT is, no doubt, DauT has won this now. Chris has just lost his whole army in like a fraction of a second. And DauT has got these onagers right outside of his base. Unless Chris can do something here with maybe a castle, and I don't know. He needs to take out these onagers. He's got no knights to take them out. He's got nothing to take them out. And these onagers are just going to absolutely decimate him. Obviously, Elite Skirmishers going to be able to take out the arbalests as well. Onager fire coming in still, and it really looks like Chris is going to be GG'd right here. The harassment to DauT's base has finally gone, and yeah, there we go. Chris resigning. I think he probably rage quit at that one, because at one point Chris had such a big advantage, and I don't know why Chris did not build any knights or anything, just to take out these onagers. I mean, he needed something to get rid of these onagers, because I mean, for a period of time, these three onagers here, maybe not that one, but these two certainly, just killed off so many of Chris's men. And when he was doing this harassment here, one shot from an onager killed off his whole army. So, unfortunately for Chris, he didn't deal with the onagers very well, and I think really for DauT, that's just what won it for him. And obviously, yeah, Chris playing quite defensively from the outset, and unfortunately for Chris, wasn't able to take it. So what does that make the score? Well, it was 5-3 before the start of this game, so I guess that makes it... Sorry, no. What was the score? It was 4-3, so I guess it makes it 5-3 now in this best of 21. 5-3 to DauT, and yeah, I've been Zach, and I will see you for Game 9 of this best of 21 series next time.